You're listening to a Rev FM production podcast. Welcome to Pastors Live, the show that discusses things of the Bible and current events for people who love to laugh. And now, the hosts who answer questions with more questions. It's Pastors Dave, Ty, Shane, and the other guy.
2, 1.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Hey, we were talking before the mics went live. Hey, if you're what is it? What were you guys
good at making excuses?
Once you get good at making excuses, making excuses is all you'll be good at.
There you go. That's a great point for today. It's Wednesday. It's May 7th. Guys, it's hard to believe that we're this far into the year. It feels like we just did Christmas and Easter, and now we're like
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day coming up.
Right?
Yeah, Mother's Day this weekend, and also
Crazy.
Today is also a National Anxiety Disorder Screening Day. Gary, is that one new? Because I don't remember that one from last year. Is that
it's
new? It's new. So they come up with a new day, or are you just making stuff up?
It's making it up.
Making it up. Okay, all right.
Most mothers do have some level of anxiety.
Yeah,
they're
probably
raising
with their
little
husbands.
human beings.
Oh, isn't it? I thought it was with their husbands.
Well,
but
a little bit of both.
A little bit
Could
of both,
be.
yeah.
Could be.
Hey, listen, if you have a comment or question, we'd love to hear from you. Pastors Live at the Rev.fm. Pastors Live at the Rev.fm. Gary Austin's with us today, the voice of the valley, the man,
Hi,
the myth, the
Gary.
legend. And then we also have Shane is here today. Pastor Shane is here today.
You know,
a little under the weather,
That's
but
interesting
but
that
all
it's
good,
excuse. We were talking about excuses, and it's National Anxiety Disorder Day.
right? Yeah. Oh,
That's Shane at watersprings.net.
Yeah, and Pastor
Bring it.
Dave is here today.
God bless you guys,
And
whether you have anxiety or not. God
Yes,
bless
exactly.
you.
And I am Pastor Ty, and I'm here today. And,
God bless you, Pastor Ty.
I was talking to some folks the other day about just the reality that the anxiety is becoming a real. So many people are struggling
Last days, man.
with
Yes.
anxiety.
Paul told Timothy in the
Yeah,
last days they would be days of anxiety.
Yeah,
The more thing that I was picking on is the fact that the clinical system needs to diagnose everything, and that becomes an excuse.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right,
Right,
not the folks that are, because everybody struggles with anxiety,
Sure we
right?
do.
in some way, and sometimes it becomes acute in some
Yeah.
people's lives,
Yeah.
depending on what they've been through.
But I
Right?
think what we're seeing more and more is that there's more labels and more patches coming in, and it gives people an excuse to not turn to the Lord and be cured of their anxiety.
Right.
And
I think, coming to the Lord, and, the Lord is with us. And I'll be honest with you. I love the Lord. I follow the Lord every day, but there are things that give me a little bit of angst,
Yeah.
and
But there you go.
they do
So
that, yeah.
before the mics went hot, I don't know why we keep going back to John 5. I'm glad we do. I love John 5. We're at the end of John 8 today in our reading. But Ty, you were talking about the man at the pool of Bethesda, the 5
Right.
porches and all that. And I love going there when we go there next June, 2026. We always go to the pool of Bethesda. And I was telling Shane, it's right there by St. Anne's Church. It's where the original sheep gate was. It's just a beautiful area. I love that area. And we always pause and do a teaching there.
By the way, last time we were there, was that an Ethiopian church that was there that came through the
Yes,
gate with
remember
us?
that? No.
Or was that-
Eritrea. How do you pronounce that country?
I don't.
Eritrea? Anyway,
That's
not
irritating.
Ethiopian. It was a different.
Yeah.
But just beautiful. Their music.
Yeah,
was
they were coming in jamming, and I'm
gorgeous.
like,
That'd be so
I just
cool.
wanted to slip in and follow them, but we were heading.
Well, you're
we were
too
going
white.
somewhere. I
You're
would
a little white, bro. Sorry.
I would have stuck out. I would have stuck out like a sore thumb. I'd
a little bit. Just a little.
Just sun bleached.
piece of rice and a bowl of raisins.
Just a little outside.
Just saying, yeah, right.
But
it was amazing.
I love that because talking about this, right? So here's a guy who's been at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years.
Yeah.
And when Jesus heals him, he also gives him a directive for some self-reliance.
And responsibility.
And that's a better word. Some self-responsibility.
Ownership, right?
Right? Whoever's been picking up your bed for you all these years because you can't, guess what? You take up your bed
Right.
and walk.
Because now you can.
right? Because now you can.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when we, the other day, Pastor Ty, you were talking about deliverance ministry. Was that on Monday or Tuesday?
I can't remember because
somebody had said
I get emails all the time.
Right.
Do you believe it? Do you believe?
Do you
does
guys,
your church have?
does your church teach on deliverance or believe in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because when Jesus delivers somebody,
Yep.
that also comes with some responsibility. Hey, take up your bed and walk. We talked about it, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. It also comes with the responsibility to not make provision for the flesh.
Yeah.
Don't sin anymore.
Clean out your house of whatever it is. If you've got stuff coming up on your TV, it's dropping bad language every 5 seconds. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. That's all. Don't make provision for it, man.
And we were talking about the becoming callous, right? And,
Yeah.
the idea. I think there's a point. Lori and I were having this conversation one day. I was watching something on TV, and I've been spending a lot of time as a law enforcement chaplain around law enforcement and around people who were making bad decisions. And I was watching a show, and there was some language in it, and she goes, "Do you hear that?" And I'd gotten to the point I was so used to hearing it live that I wasn't noticing it on the TV.
Sure.
I wasn't noticing it in the show.
Callous.
And I realized, yeah, thank you, honey. And I stopped watching that show because I'm just like, oh man, this is pretty brutal. Like, this is not healthy.
Right.
And I think, but that
I just thought of something.
But that's, go ahead.
When Jesus said, "Pray, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Boy, what a great filter. If I'm watching something, doing something, just stop and ask yourself, do you think you'll be watching this in heaven?
Are they binge watching this bad boy up in heaven?
Do you think Jesus has on his television Netflix and Hulu?
He has them ad free.
He's got Angel Television.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, I don't know. There's some stuff there. I don't know.
And that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Because the world wants to
make us callous.
The world wants to make us callous, but the world also wants to point the finger at things, right? The blame game, right?
Yeah, the John 4 or John 8 issue again, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And we around here in this circle, these guys in this room, right? We deal with people who have family members who have tried secular counseling and things as such with whatever deal, whether it's anxiety, sobriety, whatever deal, it doesn't matter. And one of the things that the world likes to do is give you excuses for self-justification, right? And what I love about the Bible is that it doesn't give you excuses. God gives you the reality of the situation, then he gives you mercy, and then like you were saying, Pastor Dave, there comes responsibility and ability to walk in the newness of life, because that does not define who I am. That struggle, that temptation, that thing does not define me. The crucified and risen Messiah defines me, right? And now that gives me the ability to control my thoughts, words, and actions. And there's lots of verses, but since it is National Anxiety Day or Screening Day or whatever, I wanted to read a couple verses, man. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 and 7. Therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time, casting all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. And the Apostle Paul would talk about in Philippians 4 that we are not to be anxious. Do not be anxious, but in everything pray and lift up your supplications and requests to him, right? And so there's this idea in the scripture that God does not want us dwelling on our anxieties. He wants us casting them on him and trusting him.
Absolutely.
I love at the end of today's reading in John chapter 8 and verse 59, and they want to cast stones at Jesus, but he hid himself and went out of the temple, and going through the midst of them, he passed by. And then tomorrow's reading starts off, and as he passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth, and his disciples said, "Who's to blame?" Right?
Yeah. Who's to blame? Who did this?
Who can we blame for this? Him or his parents? And Jesus rolled his eyes. No, that's not what it says, but I always read this with a big eye roll from Jesus.
He might have sighed in his spirit like he did elsewhere.
Right? Yeah. It's like what?
When he goes, not him or his parents have sinned, right? Neither he nor his parents have sinned, but this condition is here so that the works of God can be made manifest in him. And so whatever somebody is facing, if it's something you brought on yourself, if it's something that's genetic, if it's epigenetics, if it's environmental, whatever you are facing, whatever condition that you might be dealing with, you know what? The works of God can be manifest in it, and God can be glorified by simply making himself known in you and through you, and bringing deliverance for you. So, man, I pray for people who struggle with anxiety disorders. They're a tough one.
It's a real thing.
It's very real, very real. And we're not just saying, well, just turn to Jesus and tomorrow you'll walk on water.
Right.
It is a lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
It's picking up your bed and walking.
And that's where the trust comes in, right? Because I think the opposite, and this is just my kind of thing, is the anxiety is the worry of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many variables, and it's what do you call it? Strickening almost, right? Yeah. And when you put your trust in the Lord and your faith in him, knowing that he's in control of the outcome and not our thoughts or the many rabbit holes that we think could be, it's a process, right? That's a process of dying daily, going, okay, Lord, I'm worried about all of these things, but today I'm just going to choose to trust you today.
You know, when we were doing the men's conference, I mean, the final 2 weeks leading up to the men's conference, you guys have seen me you guys have seen me at my worst. You're my closest friends here. Things do get a little anxious. They do get a little ramped up.
Yeah.
Is that food truck person ever going to contact me and confirm? Is that exhibitor going to, be here this year or not? Is Luke going to wear a large or medium? Or small.
Or extra small. Right? I think we should send him a package of extra small shirts for fun.
I'm down for that. But when you're dealing with mission stuff, and there's stuff, okay, man, is this going to happen? Are we making that trip? Are we making that investment? Are we doing this? Pastor Ty's got, 20 ministries around the church that at the end of the day, the buck stops at his desk. And so we're not saying in any way, shape, or form that anxiety never comes to the life of a Christian. We're just saying we're pretty fortunate dogs. We got somebody we can go to.
Right.
And we could turn to the Lord Jesus as a Christian and as a Jesus follower.
Well, the Lord wants us to.
Right.
Right. And sometimes he allows those things to come into our life.
But every single time, what do we go? We see the work of the Lord, right? After our anxieties.
I'm just not always as quick as I want to be.
Right. So it's always hindsight, right?
Yeah, too many times it's hindsight.
Right. Well, I think coming back to this idea, let's to step away from anxiety, just because we're probably giving anxiety to those who have anxiety. But
any condition, right?
Any condition. So I'm going to use this idea, right? So depression, sadness. Let's talk about that. So like if you struggle with that, the idea is you walk with Jesus in it, and he's delivering you from it as you go, right? So like you struggle with depression, or you struggle with sadness, or you're struggling with grief, or you're struggling with anxiety, or all those different things, all those emotional issues. Chip Dodd in his book, Journey of the Heart, it's really sweet. He says, look, we're designed with emotions. Emotions aren't to be buried or ignored. They're to be addressed biblically. So as we're having these things, we walk with God with those things, and there's this growth process, kind of sharing what you're talking about. There's this growth process.
Give them to him daily.
We give them to him daily, and we walk with him knowing that we can trust him and that he is greater than the feelings that he created us with. And when there is something broken in us, that he is the great physician to help us with those things. And yes, can we experience a freedom from things that are binding us now? Yeah, there is. But you have to get up, take your bed, and you in other words, do you want to, and this is the question, do you want to be well?
Right.
I think the question is sometimes
John 5 keeps
coming back,
Popping
right?
back into
right.
this-
So
And that's the what lesson,
Right.
right? There's always a lesson
yes.
from those moments.
So do you want to be well?
Right.
And I think for me, I loved, and Ed only mentioned it one time, but he talked about a definition of spiritual warfare that I really appreciated. He said spiritual warfare it's when the enemy is affecting your emotions and your feelings. That's a real space of warfare, right? And I was like, oh man, that's just good. I wrote it down like 3 times, and I just to make sure I really had it right, and to think about what that means for us, like when we're going forward, like there's that warfare. I mean, I was telling a couple folks yesterday we were meeting with, and I said there are times that I feel like there's times I feel like, oh, I'm in God's way. I'm not efficient at what I do. Somebody else could do it better. Somebody else should be doing it. I go through those feelings. Those are common feelings that happen, and recognizing, okay, there's some warfare in here, but I have to just keep walking faithfully with Jesus, because he said to me one day when I was 20 years old, he said, do you want to be made well? Well, then pick up your bed and follow me. I mean, you pick up your life and follow me and come after me. And so I want to be faithful to that. But that means and in my journey with Christ, that doesn't mean there's no sadness. It doesn't mean there's no anxiety. It doesn't mean there's no depression. It doesn't mean there's none of those things. It means I'm following the God who brings healing to me. I think we forget that in our day-to-day basis, God will meet us in those moments. He meets us in all our stuff. But I do like that. I think that question is really important. Do you want to be well? Do you want to be made whole? I think that's important for us.
And you can, whatever your situation is, whatever you're facing, we all know people in this room who have struggled with gender dysmorphia. We know people who have struggled with an addiction to food.
Right.
We know people who have struggled with, as Pastor Ty said, sadness, depression. But also, one of our listeners the other day, and I can't remember, but he struggled with foul language, cursing, right? And he doesn't want to. But hey, it's been a part of my life for X many years since childhood, So we all have those. And that, again, we go back to that verse, Ty, 1 Corinthians 10:13. Because old Dave gave the wrong address the other day. But
It was still a great reference he gave. It just
right.
wasn't that one, yeah.
But there's no temptation
There it is.
taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make the way to escape. But the first part of that way to escape is,
Follow me.
do you want to be made whole?
That's right, yeah.
Do you want to be made whole? So the person with the addiction to food, they have a bad relationship with food. They have a bad day. They have a good day. They celebrate or they commiserate by eating a whole extra large meat lovers pizza by themselves. Well, now see, did you see the face?
I was trying to
That
figure
was the face.
There's something wrong with
Shane,
that?
are you okay?
I just
I've been delivered from that.
But there it is,
you
right?
just get a large
Do
now.
No.
you want to be made whole? Do you want to not have gender dysmorphia? Do you want to not struggle with anger and passion and outburst of wrath? Some guys like throwing temper tantrums.
Well, they're not happy unless they're angry, which is the weirdest thing.
It's terribly sad.
Yeah.
And some people are just going to go eat a half a gallon of ice cream tonight, and they know they shouldn't. They just shouldn't. And if you have ice cream, you should portion it, and you should this, that, and the other. Do you want to be made whole from the things that you're dealing with, that you're relying upon, that you're finding comfort in? And the reality is, man, we're supposed to be finding comfort in the Holy Spirit, in the Holy Scriptures, even in holy company.
Yeah.
The other day, you and Carl and I went out and hung out together for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just fellowshipped. And, you went your separate way. I took Carl to the airport. He grabbed me. He hugged me, tears running down his face. He says, I love coming to Idaho Falls. all you guys always just build me. I get edified every time I come.
Right.
I mean, that's precious stuff, man. I don't need to go hang out with non-believers who are doing activities that are not edifying. I need to find, that circle of friends that's building me up in the Lord.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those temptations, man, now how I picture them in my life, when those temptations come, it's almost like a check engine light, right?
Yeah.
And there's always something beneath the surface that you got to check out a little bit deeper. And it's an opportunity to see where the Lord wants you and what the Lord wants to do in your life. And if you ignore those check engine lights, it's going to be dangerous, man. It's going to cause some really serious problems.
You're going to seize up just,
but the wise
just like
man,
an engine.
the wise man takes his check engine lights to the Lord and says, "Hey, what's going on here? show me the underlining, cause or whatever."
That's right.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
The
Help me
holy
out, Lord.
mechanic.
Yeah, the holy mechanic.
There you go.
Yeah, look, but here's the thing. When God gets in there with his tools and he starts yanking on things that are rusty and all messed up, it's uncomfortable, but it's productive. Hey, listen, guys, you're loved, your family. God bless you. Enjoy your week and come to church tonight. We're looking forward to seeing you here, and we've got some special guests over the next couple weeks, so we're really excited to share with you guys coming up. God bless you.
You've reached the end of another episode of Pastors Live, a Rev FM production podcast. Thank you for listening. Submit your questions and comments by email to pastorslive@therev.fm. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review from your favorite podcast listening platform. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon so you don't miss the next episode drop.